Hello, welcome to the weather update. It's 10 o'clock on the 26th of March, a very warm day. But as you can see, it was sunny with barely any clouds really to speak of. Maybe a few in the morning. Other than that, it was a pretty nice sunny day. You could see there, not a cloud in the sky pretty much across the northeast. Looking at the MODIS satellite, you can see, again, this is what we had today. So again, fairly clear skies across the area. Clear skies across the area. You can see that stretches all the way to the Midwest, and you would think, looking at this, that we would have a nice stretch of clear weather all week with no rain chances. But I've got some bad news for you. Fortunately, we have some more rain chances that we got to talk about. Let's first go to the weather map. We'll just show you what it looked like outside today before we do that. So, yeah, I did get to some Pine Barrens today, finally. It was absolutely beautiful. And this is what it looked like this evening. And you can see just a little bit of reddish haze. I was trying to take a picture of it at dusk, so maybe there was a little bit of haze in the atmosphere. But other than that, it was fairly clear. Really, especially as we got toward the afternoon. Really nice out. So let's go look at I'm going to go and I'm going to actually put this to the CONUS satellite view. All right, so you can see the CONUS satellite view, just the last 12. And you can see here's this next system. This is the one that we've got to worry about. And this is causing severe weather in the south. Once again, they're dealing with it. So if we go to the Weather Prediction Center, you'll see here, stalled frontal boundary. There's a low pressure system there. Another bunch of lows that are over the Great Lakes. And this is going to develop into a new storm just south of us. That's going to bring us rain tomorrow night. Yeah, more rain. I thought we were not going to have to deal with this. But unfortunately, we are. Looking at the Storm Prediction Center, you'll see, look at that. Wow. Not a good night at all. Moderate risk of severe thunderstorms. It looks like that's right over Alabama. It looks like going into enhanced into Georgia and South Carolina, going west into Mississippi again. Just not a good situation, even into Louisiana a little bit there. This is not a good situation at all after what they've just been through here. Multiple injuries reported and likely tornado strikes western Georgia. So now we have another report of a tornado here. Likely Georgia tornado leaves several injured. More dangerous severe storms rumbled across the south on Sunday morning with a likely tornado striking the western part of Georgia. So this is in LaGrange, Georgia, about 65 miles southwest of Atlanta. A possible tornado was picked up on radar. Could be 80 to 100 structures damaged, with 30 of them sustaining major damage. This is, again, what we're dealing with here. And more tornadoes again and there was a state of emergency in Georgia as well as a result. This is not a good situation. And 2 tigers briefly escaped, but both tigers were escaped the Pine Mountain Safari during the storms. So just devastating with these storms, I'll tell you. So let's go look at the radar now. Back out of this, and we'll show you what we have going on right now. Although it's very quiet and peaceful here, they've been going through hell down south. And, this is the line right here. It looks like there's a severe thunderstorm heading right for Selma, Montgomery. This is all in Alabama right now. And you still have storms in Mississippi, and then going from North Georgia into South Carolina. And Atlanta, too, also getting hit by some severe thunderstorms already. These probably are severe. We go to the weather map, we'll see. Yep, we've got a bunch of stuff going on in the south. So we've got tornado watches. Here's tornado watches for much of Alabama. Tornado watch also for much of Mississippi into parts of Louisiana. And severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Georgia. And we do have some warnings out. We have a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings in Georgia, and it looks like we do have a tornado warning right now in place. I see a bit of red there, but it's not showing a tornado warning. I don't see it here. I guess it was discontinued. But this whole area is under threat for severe weather once again. Today, they haven't had a break from this at all. So we go to the Storm Prediction Center, you'll see that. And unfortunately, I think it might even continue into tomorrow. Let's go to the day 2 convective outlook. Let's see. Yes, it does. So it continues into tomorrow with that slight risk moving east to southeastern Georgia into southern South Carolina and maybe getting ever so closely to the Florida Panhandle, a little marginal right across the whole Gulf Coast there. So yeah, it's not a good situation at all. Again, we have this frontal boundary here that's just hung up over here, and there's some very warm, humid air that's south of it. I'll put the dew points in here, and you'll see dew points in the 70s. So the Gulf temperatures are above normal, so that's just adding fuel to the fire with these storms. But let's take a look and see what today was like in our area, because it was pretty nice. 48 right now. It has dropped to 48. Still a very mild night out there. So let's see, 48 degrees at Islip. And you can see we got into the 60s today, well into the 60s, in fact. Looks like 63 for a good part of the afternoon there. You could see the morning we had some clouds and mist. Actually, it didn't start dissipating until like 8 o'clock. And then as we got toward later in the morning, the drier air started working in, and the skies cleared out pretty nicely as a result of that. But pretty warm day today across the area. Let's see, are we getting any radiational cooling tonight? We very well may. With these dew points in the upper 20, we can see temperatures as low as the current dew points in West Hampton. It's already down to 34 there, so it's very possible it could drop even further than that. No sea breezes anywhere. The city is still in the mid-57 still at Central Park, and that's what it feels like here in Mineola, too. I noticed the difference just walking from Garden City through to Mineola. The temperatures went up like 5 to 7 degrees, at least, if not 10 degrees. 42 in Toms River, so it's cooler in Toms River than it is here in Mineola. 40, so it does cool off there at night. 40 at Lakehurst. There you go. So I'll have to see what kind of radiational cooling we'll get tonight. Again, temperatures could get below freezing in those Pine Barrens areas or close to it. Everyone else is probably going to have lows in the mid-30s. So let's look at our highs and lows. No, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, let's... we do it this way now. All right, so 63. Look at that. So 63 pretty much low to mid-60s across all of Long Island. Only way out of the Forks, and they're still mild. Upper 50s out there. 63 at LaGuardia. 63 probably at 63. Everyone pretty much hit around 63, but look at this. Once you go down a little further south into Ocean County, down by Toms River and south, mid to upper 60s. I got a 66 there. Oh, I thought I saw 69. So 66, that's a mid 60s. So that's the warmest reading so far that we have. Obviously, Jersey being just a tad warmer than Long Island. Obviously, let's see what Central Park got up to. Looks like 62. So 62 in Central Park for the highs today. It'll be interesting to see what these lows are come the morning for sure. Let's go to the Wonder Map as well. So I'll just show you some of these local variations in temperatures because of the radiational cooling. We have more readings here that we can show you. Again, you can see Central Nassau here is typical. North New Hyde Park still at 51. If you go to the North Shore, you'll notice Brookville's in the mid-40s, so they've radiated away. Port Washington has not. They're holding on to the heat, too. Still in the mid-50s there. Rockville Center has dropped off now to the upper 40s. Usually Long Beach, which is right on the water, they're dealing with low 50s as well. There's absolutely no sea breeze at all. So the areas that are going to radiate are just going to be the areas that are going to have a tendency to have less development, more open space. As you head into Suffolk County, you'll see the temperatures are lower. We got the mid-40s. You get toward the Pine Barrens, low 40s. And, of course, 38 there. That's not the airport, but 38 there. It looks like in East Quogue. So you can see it's dropping off there. But in the city, you can see upper 50s. So the urban area is really holding on to the heat. And then, of course, also in New Jersey, in Ocean County, it has dropped off quite a bit as well. Again, on these nights like these, the more developed areas will be warmer and the less developed areas will be colder. That's what happens, generally speaking. So now that we got all this out of the way, let's now go and talk about what we have to come here, because obviously you see what we have to come. You see what we have to deal with, unfortunately. And, so let's go to the models here, and we have the 18Z GFS before us. And we'll go first into the short range, and then we'll go a little bit into the longer range, I guess, toward the latter part of this video. But we got to get this next storm over with first, all right? So here's what's going to happen. You see, originally it looked like we weren't going to get anything, but now a low pressure is going to develop right to our south and bring us rain tomorrow night. And it's going to rain for much of the night again, and then that's going to move away, all right? This wasn't on the model. Like, if I go back, let's go back to Saturday morning. Actually, it was on the model Saturday morning. It wasn't on the model. Well, I'll see. I think it was the 0Z run that didn't have it. Yeah, it was a little weaker and a little slower. Yeah, that's what it was. A little more overnight. It's just a little more robust than it was. That it's showing more robust rains. We'll have to see because the air is pretty dry. So I wonder where it's getting all this moisture from. So we're going to have to figure that all out with this storm here. So let's go take a closer look at our area here, and we'll go look at the HRRR model. It'll be the first model we can look at here in the short range. Obviously, with dry tonight, the rain would move in probably tomorrow evening, right around 5, 6 o'clock, and it's going to linger around, and it could be heavy at times through 10, 11 o'clock at night. You can see it's just lingering around there as this low pressure here just develops offshore. I was not expecting this. Obviously, we thought we were going to be out of the woods, and then as we get into Tuesday, it pops up some instability showers, as you see. But yeah, this would be a bit of a soaker for tomorrow night. That's what the HRRR is, and of course, some models have it differently. Though the HRRR gives us almost a half an inch of rain, almost. But there are other models that give us more. And again, it all has to do with the amount of moisture in the air. So we'll go to the NAM next. Well, let's look at the dew points and wind flow while we're at it. So here, speaking of moisture, so here we go. And you can see there isn't we stay in the dry air, but you can see there's some very moist air off to the south. These are the dew points, and look at some of these dew points, mid-60s up. So there's a lot of moisture that's going to be thrown up over the cool air at the surface that could cause these rain showers, obviously. And then that's going to add energy to this low pressure that's going to develop, and that's going to kick up the winds as well, northeast winds as well. So, yeah, I'm not at all happy about this either. Temperatures will start out again in the morning tomorrow, upper 30s, and then mid to upper 30s. Tomorrow will be a lot cooler than today, though it's still indicating that we may get a little bit of sun, which may get us into the mid to upper 50s, perhaps even 60 degrees in spots. But then when the rain starts, temperatures drop quick into the low 40s, and it's going to be chilly. And then for Tuesday, it's going to be rather chilly with temperatures only in the mid 40s. All right, but let's go back to the precipitation here. And we're going to go to the NAM next. Let's do the NAM 3. We actually have the 0Z NAM 3 in, so we can use the latest model on this. So here's the 0Z NAM 3. Hopefully it'll go far enough out. It doesn't quite go far enough out. You can see it starts the rain right around that 5 or 6 hour, and you can see that low that's developing there. Unfortunately, it doesn't take us out far enough, so I'd have to use the 18Z. But you can see that rain would be heavy at times, and it would linger right through around after midnight. It's going to linger around for a while. So you get this low here. It's just going to kind of just develop there. And again, if we look at the total rainfall, the NAM is being a little heavier, with more like between a half an inch to maybe an inch. So NAM's, of course, being heavier. It's got that bias that it has. But let's go ahead and look at the FGen, because that, of course, is one way of telling about where the heavy rain is going to develop. Now, it looks like the best FGen is off to the south, which would be a good sign that maybe the heavier rain would stay away. Let's do the 700. The 700 is a little closer, however. So, but you can see it's just a little off to the south. So perhaps maybe it will escape the heaviest rain. It's not quite lining up with what I'm seeing on the radar here that this is developing, because, again, it's hard to say what's going to happen. There, a model, I looked at the European model, it didn't have that much at all. It was much less robust with this, and it was further to the south as well. So this is what the NAM shows. I can go to the NAM 12. Let's see if we have actually the NAM 12 0C goes a little further. So let's go ahead and look at that. So here's the NAM 12. And you can see that rain is just going to linger through the evening there. And then, I didn't think we'd have to deal with any more freaking soakers for the rest of this week. It would be nice. And you can see here, a half an inch to an inch of rain is what the NAM is calling for. And look at the FGen. Again, you can see there's some pretty strong FGen. Again, because you're going to have a lot of lift. I wouldn't even rule out a thunderstorm, perhaps, with all that lift there. Because, again, you have this very warm, humid air that's being lifted over the cooler air at the surface. Yeah, that's how warm frontal thunderstorms develop. Let's go to the 700s and see here. So it does look like the best of it's off to the south, but you can see that area a lift. So that's what we have to watch out for, and that could produce some of that heavier rain tomorrow that I'm a little concerned about, obviously. We can go to the GFS, which also shows this as well. Let's go to the GFS, though. We don't have as many frames on the GFS, and that's the problem. That's why I don't like using this. It doesn't really give you as much, unfortunately. Yeah, unfortunately now, like I said, the models don't all agree on this. We have the European, so let's go to that. The European will actually show this, too. Actually, we can get FGen with the European, too. It's still showing decent FGen. This is the 18Z run of the European. Decent, so that's enough to produce some lift right there. Let's see what it shows at the surface here. The European has now gotten on board with the other models now, and it has more of the older Euro run. Let's see. I thought I saw a Euro run that was not as pronounced with the rain. It does still have mostly light rain, though. It doesn't have the rain as heavy. Let's see what the European is calling for with the rainfall. Yeah, much less. So the European is calling for much less rain than the other models. It has much less moisture getting involved, and I have a feeling. Let's go ahead and look at this here. This dry air might actually go, this is another parameter we can use here. So you can see it's not generating nearly as much moisture. If we go and we look at the GFS, the levels are definitely a little wetter, I think. Nothing crazy. I don't know if the NAM gives us this parameter. No, it does not. Yeah, it's going to be tricky. There will be rain, but maybe we'll get lucky and it won't be as bad. But, worst case scenario is you're going to have a very rainy evening, unfortunately. That's the worst case scenario that you're going to have. If the Euro is right, then we won't have to deal with this much rain. Wind is also a concern, obviously, because you see those isobars were a little bit tight. So it'll be a little bit breezy. If we go to the NAM 12 here, you can look at the wind here. NAM 12, it doesn't look that bad, but it's going to be a little bit driven by the wind. We're going to go to the Ventus sky, and you'll see that when we go to the Ventus sky. Let me pull up the Ventus sky here. We go to wind gusts, and we go to tomorrow. You'll see here you're going to have some wind gusts. All right, 6 o'clock doesn't look too bad. I think it gets worse as we get later on in the evening. At 8 o'clock, you're going to see some wind gusts. So that rain and that wind is going to be blowing, and that's going to make it very unpleasant to be outside, unfortunately. And it's conditions you really don't want to be out, and especially if you're in an area with poor drainage, like where I live. So you need a boat here when you get a lot of rain. Because the little streets just turn into rivers and lakes. I could show you, I guess, and be out in it if you want. Let's go back to tidbits now. So we get the idea that we're going to probably have to deal with another rain event tomorrow night. Let's go back to the CONUS view. Actually, let's go to the CONUS view. GFS. And actually, we will go and we will actually take this out now to the regions. Let me go to the North American region. We'll look at the jet stream here. All right, so you see what we have, and this is the problem. We have a fire hose. You can clearly see it. The Pacific fire hose is taking a break, but we have a fire hose across the whole country. So you can see it's just all that moisture is just going right across the country, and that's what's going to fuel this next rain event. And this is what's fueling all the severe weather in the south as well. And as we go through the week, you'll see that semi-zonal flow there. It does sort of move off to the south a little bit, so it gives us some dry air. But then you'll see some ridging here develop by the end of the month here. And there's another big ridge which could lead to a warm-up and some more rain. And you can see the jet stream's just kind of a mess. It's going into like a split pattern here a little bit. It's kind of all over the place, really. Let's go to the European model now. This is the European 18Z. I'll just stick with the 18Z run here. And you can see that fire hose. That's what's going to bring us that moisture, terrible zonal flow that we have. That's why, we can't really get any cold air. And there you see that trough, once again, setting up in the west, once again. All right, so there'll be more storms for them because of that. Let's now go to the surface. Actually, let's go to the upper air first. That's right, upper air. So we'll do the upper air first, and you can see, again, trough in the west, zonal flow. Look at how straight those isobars are. You got troughing, which will bring some cooler air in, but nothing substantially cold. Like I said, winter is pretty much over, and you can see there's that trough in the west again. This is like, it's been like this all winter long. Another storm for the west. The European is showing. So let's go now to the GFS. And here's the GFS, all right? And you can see that little short wave there, all right? It doesn't look that pronounced on the upper level, so I guess that's sort of encouraging that it won't be that strong of a storm, at least. But then you'll see the cooler air build in, so we do have a little bit of a cool down there for Wednesday into Thursday because of that blocking. But then the ridge builds, and you'll see here those storms come into the west. There's another storm coming in. This will be next weekend. We could have another rainy weekend again. And then another trough in the west. It just never ends. I'm telling you, it just never ever ends. So let's go to the CONUS view now, and we will go look at the surface. And we'll stick with the GFS here. I don't see any big differences between the European and the GFS. So once we get rid of that storm, we'll have fair weather. Dry. It should be nice Wednesday. A secondary cold front comes through Wednesday night. Colder even on Thursday. Then that high moves offshore. We get the return flow on Friday. And then that warms us up. Here comes another storm into the Great Lakes, bringing us more rain chances for the weekend. And then, high builds in. And then, get another. It's just the same old story. And then you see there are a bunch of storms that do come into the west as well. So if I run this all out, we take a look at total accumulated precipitation here. You'll see the west is really going to get just a lot. Not so much Southern California. It'll be a little more mid-California, but they're just going to continue to get lots and lots of storms, and they're just going to go across the country and up into the Great Lakes like they always do, like they've been doing all winter long. It's like it's been stuck like this for. I watch a lot of weather people, and they say they've never seen anything like this before. This stubborn that this pattern just doesn't want to break down. So let's look at our temperature anomaly charts. And you'll see, obviously, today we were way above normal, and I do want to go over iSlip, which reminds me I need to go over iSlip's readings for today. Tomorrow, it's showing above normal as well. For Tuesday, you can see we go a little more below normal. You can see up in the upper Midwest, that's where they get the cold air, near normal on Wednesday, below normal for Thursday. So we get a little bit below normal, but then we go back above normal on Friday, and above normal for Saturday, and then there's be some little cold air behind that at least, but then after that we're going to have another extended period of ridging, and then that might be it, because that Pacific pattern just continues to just, you keep, every time you think it's gone, it comes back, it just doesn't want to go away. It's unbelievable, I tell you, it really, really is. So with that, let's go and let's go to iSlip and look at today's readings for the climate. Obviously, there were no records broken today, but it was very warm and quite an anomaly at iSlip. So just looking at iSlip, the high at iSlip was 63. The normal high is 51, so that's 12 degrees above normal. The low is 40. Normal low is 35, so that's 5 degrees above normal. That gives us a mean of 52. That means we're 9 degrees above normal for the day. Quite above normal. Quite above normal. And precipitation is near normal for the month, but we'll probably be above normal with all these, with more rain coming. So, I mean, I guess we could use it, but, it's not good. Okay, so let's get back to the map here, and let's take a closer look at what the weather this week will be like. Once we get rid of that storm. So let's go to the weather view here, and you will see here that as that storm goes away, spotty shower Tuesday, fair weather and then we'll have our next chance of rain would be the weekend, perhaps, and that's this next storm here. That's a ways away. I can only speculate on how bad that one is going to be and how much rain it will bring. But let's go to the dew points and wind flow. So let's do that. And as we get past, you'll see as we get past that storm, you see that moisture there that it brings. That's the issue, is we have some really moist air off to the south, and that can get lifted up over the cooler air at the surface, and that gets the storm going, and that's what we'll have to watch out for. The winds go northerly for Tuesday, north to northwest. We have that instability in the air, and then we have more of a north wind becoming west on Wednesday. You can see the dry air in place. Briefly going southwest, there's a secondary cold front. This is going to bring in much cooler. This is going to be a much cooler air mass. You can see the dew points are lower for your Thursday. The dew points drop some more. And then that moves on out, and then we have the next, here we go with the southwest wind again for Friday, and that's going to bring in the moisture, and this is going to bring in some moisture. We're going to get in the warm sector Saturday with a very strong LLJ type of event here, it looks like, for April 1st. And then you'll see behind that, we'll get into the dry air once this passes. All right, and then we'll have more dry air build down again. Let's go look at our actual air temperatures. And so as we go into your Tuesday, you'll see highs probably, again, only in the 40s. At night, probably 30s. For Wednesday, we're probably going to be in the low 50s probably for highs, maybe mid-50s in New Jersey. And then we'll drop on Thursday. It'll be colder on Thursday. Highs only in the mid to upper 40s. Be much colder on Thursday. But you see, there's the warm air waiting in the wings. And then we get to Friday. You'll see temperatures are going to soar. If you're in New Jersey, you could be close to 70. But it looks like we have maybe a backdoor front or something over Long Island, keeping the temperatures down. If we were to look at the wind direction, let's see what the wind direction is. South-southwest, it's possible that would keep the temperatures down on Long Island. We'll have to see about that. And then as we go into, you can see how it stays warm through the night. We'll be in the 50s. And then Saturday, look at this, 70s perhaps for New Jersey. Again, showing a sea breeze over Long Island. We'll have to see how good of a sea breeze that is, because lately we haven't been feeling the sea breeze at all in Mineola. We'll have to see if it makes it to Mineola or not. And again, you'll have that rain, but there could be some sunny breaks, and then front comes through with some showers and possible thunderstorms. We'll have to watch out for that. That's a ways away. And then Sunday, we'll be back into near normal conditions with low 50s, which is about normal for this time of the year. And then we're below normal for a little bit before we see yet more warm air return again. And then next week, the first full week of April, we could have a lot of warm weather perhaps flirting with us. Look at this here, 70s. So, yeah, March is going to be going down. It's above normal, and probably so will April. As we continue this string of above normal weather, when will we ever have a below normal month? I mean, it's just been unbelievable. So let's talk about the skies, and we'll first start with the GFS. Obviously, it's a lower resolution model. Obviously, clouds roll in tomorrow. High clouds roll in. You'll still see a little bit of sun, but that fades later in the afternoon. Then we have the rain. Clouds linger for Tuesday. Wednesday, we get rid of the clouds. We should have a mostly sunny day. More clouds by the evening with this front that comes through. And then for Thursday, we're mostly sunny again. And then the clouds would roll in again for Friday. And then we have the clouds for the weekend. And then maybe we can get rid of them by maybe Sunday or Monday. But I don't want to run the cloud model any more than that. Let's now go to the RGM cloud model. The other one. This is the cloud model I like, actually. So you see, staying clear most of the night. That's why we have the radiational cooling. You'll see some high clouds rolling in the morning, and then there might be a little bit of a break around noon from them, and then some thicker clouds kind of just come in later on in the afternoon. And then we have some pretty much an overcast as the rain comes through. And then for Tuesday, maybe some breaks of sun, perhaps, a little instability showers there that we'll have with a cold pool aloft. And then I should show that cold pool aloft too. I could do that with the, yeah. But here we are into Wednesday. You'll see it clearing out. Maybe some lingering clouds over the island, but more or less clear for New Jersey. Here comes that front, very well defined, actually. That's as far as we got right there on the RGM. All right, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that cold pool, actually, on Tuesday. So let's go back to the GFS, and let's talk about that cold pool. So we're going to look at the temperatures here, but we got to actually go up a little bit. Let's do this. Yeah, here we go. Like it's going to be a little bit, yeah, you see that cold pool there? Well, I don't see it. I don't see it. It must be higher up than that. Whatever, there's some instability there that's causing that lingering shower activity on Tuesday, and I'm trying to figure out why we're getting that. And again, here's your storm again. You can see there's that rain. All right, but I figure out where we're getting that. Let's see what we got going on here. It's probably just some moisture at the lower levels. No, I don't see a bad cold pool. Just a little bit of moisture, I guess. Lingering moisture, I guess. That's why we may have some instability. Like I said, call it that. It's just going to be all the moisture on the ground, and there's not really any high pressure. The air pressure is low, so that's why it's going to produce probably. So, yeah, it's a very slight chance of a shower on Tuesday. It probably won't be completely dry for everybody. It'll be a spot shower. But it's tomorrow night that we got to worry about the rain, and this is going to be a pain, this storm here that we have. And you'll notice if you go north, there's even some snow, and it's possible maybe that makes it down a little closer into Connecticut if the rain comes down heavy enough, but I'm not really buying that at this point. We have a little more of the NAM, so let's go ahead and look at that. So here is the 0Z NAM. All right, so you can see that heavy rain that we could have tomorrow night. Could even be a thunderstorm, and that's going to linger right through all the night. Starts. It's going to ruin your evening from like after 5 o'clock. It's going to linger right through around midnight. And then it's finally out of here, and then you can see that those spot showers develop for your Tuesday. That's like almost like an upper level trough or something that comes through. It's a really weird feature there that you have, but then the high pressure builds in as we get toward Wednesday. So now that we've looked at all of that, let's go to the Climate Prediction Center and look at our 6 to 10 day outlook, and it looks like it has us near normal. Near normal, below normal in the northwest, and this typical pattern continues here. Though you can see that above normal kind of reaching up and almost touching us here. It does cover New Jersey. The small chance of above normal, of course, the southeast. So you can see southeast ridge trough in the west. Same deal that we've been dealing with all winter long. Now lasting into spring as well. Let's lastly look at earthnollschool.net and just to show you what we've got out here with the water temperature, sea surface temperature anomalies, because they are out there. You can see above normal in the Gulf, above normal off the Atlantic. We have above normal in the Pacific as well. Though you'll notice a little bit of an ENSO neutral, almost a very small, a little bit left of the La Nina here. Not too much left of it. But you can see largely well above normal for these oceans for sure. And last thing that I'll check here, we'll do this. We'll check the ice and just see what the Arctic sea ice analysis is left. And they don't really have any new statement, but fifth lowest on satellite record. You can see we are scraping at the bottom. And this year we'll have to see how much melts this year. This is what we got right now. With the ice, you see a lot of areas that don't have any ice. The Great Lakes haven't ever even froze over. Remember when the Great Lakes used to freeze over? That doesn't happen anymore. Why is that happening? All these people who don't believe in global warming. Well, ask them that question because let's see if they have an answer for it, because they probably won't. All right. So that's going to wrap up this weather update. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. Let's hope the rain isn't too bad tomorrow, and pray for everybody in the South dealing with yet more severe weather. It's just heartbreaking seeing what's going on there. People need to realize the seriousness and stop believing the lies that are spread by a lot of people in politics on both sides of the aisle. This climate crisis is very serious, and we need to start taking it a lot more seriously than we are. That is going to wrap up this video. Have a good night. Thank you for watching.